The bus tours are good, but you're not in real time as such. You certainly don't have 3 minutes between each corner. So I will talk through that the best I can. It's moving quite fast, but gives you an idea as to what we're computing. We're always 10 seconds up the road for all the references, and there's hundreds of references around there, including a little fish on the left hand side coming into Michael that hangs at the end of a lady's driveway. It's about this size and you see it every single lap, so now you know that. I'll let you know when we get to the fish. A little bit about myself. So obviously, as Mark's already introduced, I'm the fastest ever Ironman TT Newcomer. Predominantly I'm a short circuit racer, so that would be obviously your purpose-built tracks. They're a little bit safer when you crash. You can kind of barrel roll and you don't hit anything other than a nice soft air bail. Things are a little bit different here. So from 2016 I've been a British Superbike rider. Spent the majority of my career with Ducati. I'm now into my 6th season with Ducati. I had 3 years with Honda and one really terrible year with Kawasaki in the middle. It just wasn't a good year, but yeah, I've finished runner-up in the championship 3-4 times. I finished 3rd in the championship as well, finished 4th in the championship. I missed out on becoming British Superbike champion in 2023 by half a point. Normally you don't get half points, but we had a race scenario in the middle of the year where the weather was really bad and we only done like a 6-lap race, so not enough to be awarded full points. Missed out by half a point. It was a great season. Me and my teammate kind of got on okay for a while, and then at the penultimate round he nailed me, for anyone that follows BSB. So I hit the deck pretty hard. He hit the deck too, to be fair. There was a bit of fisticuffs, and then went over YouTube, and if you type Glenn Irwin, Tommy Bridewell into YouTube, you'll see that incident. And it was part of it. It got a lot of people tuning into TV and trackside, and I was just grateful to be part of a really good championship. Following that crash later that day, my bike broke down in turn 1 with a small electrical problem from the crash. So it was what it was. We didn't win the championship, but that's the closest we've been yet. This year we're back on the Ducati. I'm feeling really strong. We're 2 rounds in. We're sitting 2nd at the minute, and a load of good tracks coming up. So that's kind of the short circuit side in a nutshell. I grew up, my dad raced against Joey Dunlop, good friends and rivals. It was a little bit different then. You would have helped each other and you improved your bikes and done a bit of illegal testing on the roads, and even the police would have maybe manned the roads a bit for you when they were open, and you took the 500s up and down the road. That's honestly, my dad could tell you some good stories. So he raced along with Joey. He done some 500 Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix in Assen. Travelled all over the world doing a bit of that. But it was very different then. You'd done that out of back to the van. Obviously, you've just seen MotoGP has been on this morning, and you can't even buy a grid slot now, never mind rock up in a privateer van. But they were the good days. I have 3 brothers. Younger brother was a world motocross rider, British motocross champion. Younger brother beneath him actually races against me in British Superbikes week in, week out, which is fun. We were actually both teammates at Factory Honda before, which was cool because normal upbringing, we've had to work hard for everything we have. You know, it's not been like, son, you want to go bike racing? There you go, there's 100 grand, give that to a team. We've had to earn everything that we've got, so it's really cool. We've actually stood 1st and 2nd on British Superbike podiums together a number of times, and that's an unbelievable feeling, and it doesn't wear off. Every time you achieve that, it's every bit as good as the first time. Road racing, as I mentioned, I was sort of guided to stay away from it because my dad had done it that long, and in this sport the highs are so high and obviously the lows are the worst that can happen, so not really the type of thing you encourage your children to do unless you're wired up in the head. So very much always discouraged. But 2015, a little bit of there was a Facebook post, the clerk of the course of the Ulster Grand Prix, so it's a little bit like the mountain section of this course, 7-mile track in Northern Ireland, really cool. All the same riders do it. It's a mass start. I was sort of joking that, yeah, you know, I'd love to come along and do it in comments, and before I knew it, he actually rang me and I committed to doing it and told my dad. That didn't go down great, but here we were. What happened after that was kind of all a bit surreal, and it kind of took me from, that was the beginning of my road racing journey, till 2024, which was the end of it. But we finished 3rd in my first race. I had the likes of Michael Dunlop, Peter Hickman, Finished second in the next race. I was actually leading it, but there was a red flag. A Scottish rider had lost her life in a crash. It went back a lot. Never complain about that because, you know, more important things had happened. But you kind of arrived in the road racing scene. I was like, flip, I can do this. And to be honest, it felt a little bit, you know, you bring it back a bit from short circuit racing. It felt like you could ride within a comfort zone. 2016 came and everyone thought you would go straight into a road racing calendar, but me and my missus were pregnant with our first child. So again, we've touched on the highs and lows, and with racing, you know, we can't guarantee anything in life, but when you're doing this job, you certainly can't guarantee you're having your dinner. It's just the way it is, and I thought, I need to at least meet the little man. That's just the reality. It's how we think. So I decided not to do the Northwest 200, which would have been my debut there, which is the event that was on 3 weeks ago. It's where everyone comes before the TT. It's another mass start, speeds of up to 210 miles per hour. So choose not to do that. Freddie was born, which was all good. 4 months later, went to Macau and done the Macau GP. So that was my second road race event, first ever road race on a superbike. Qualified second, broke down in the race with an electrical problem. And then went into 2017. Things then took a real upward trajectory. Went to the Northwest 200. My local race, it's about 40 minutes from my house. There's like 100,000 people trackside, 9 miles, lots of really, really fast straights. It's in a location that would be like, if it's a sunny day in Ireland, it doesn't happen a lot. We all flock to Portrush, it's where all the beaches are, and then you shut the roads for a week and have a bike race. It's unbelievable, it's so surreal. So first race was actually really, really wet, and you're sitting on the grid and you're like, why the hell are we doing this? There's standing water everywhere. Like, done the warm-up lap, the bikes are aquaplaning, and like, fuck, I don't even want to do this. This is stupid. And I think every rider in the grid's thinking the same, apart from the hero in the wet that knows this is his chance to win. So I actually took it really, really easy. Bedded in, past Peter Hickman on the last lap and finished fourth. But then the track dried out for race 2, and kind of what happened from there was, it just changed my life in terms of your brand as a racer and everything. And I won my first superbike race at Northwest. That was race 2 of 2017. I never lost a race from then. Joey Dunlop had the record for 9 superbike wins at the Northwest over a nearly 30-year career. We managed to win 11 superbike wins consecutively from 2017 till right up till the end of last year, which was absolutely mad. Later that year in 2017, we went back to Macau, qualified pole, set the fastest ever time of Macau by a second, and won the race, which was really cool because people like Kevin Swanson that have their name on that trophy, Jeremy McWilliams, another ex-Grand Prix rider, and it was an awesome trophy to have. You're racing through the streets of Macau. It's either casinos or Armco barrier or buildings beside you, and really, really surreal. The whole experience, just flying out to the far side of the world to race a bike and to do what we done was class. Isle of Man TT was never in the script, like road racing was really in the script. 2019, I touched on briefly, I'd had a really, really tough year. My brother was riding for Honda. I just left Kawasaki mid-season, and BMW needed a rider as my mate was riding for them and he had broke his femur. So I filled in and it was going really, really good. It looked like I would sign there for next year, for the 2020 season. That was going to happen, but to be honest, they made a bit of a screw up. You agree something verbally and then you meet in a coffee shop to do a deal, and the contract looks a little bit different. So there was a few back and forwards of a few weeks, and we finally got it where you want it. But in the meantime, the boss at Honda, who's still the boss today, had said briefly to my brother, like very casual conversation, like, at this stage Peter Hickman's dominating the TT, like who could we get that could challenge Hickman in the TT? And Andrew was like, well, the only one that beats him when we go road racing is Glenn, but I don't think he wants to do the TT. Then you get a phone call from Honda, and as a kid, when you dream of riding for factory Honda, so yeah, would you do the TT? Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of where it came from. We had I'd never even been to the island, to be truthfully honest, at that point. And suddenly I've agreed to do the TT. So onboard laps, this one in particular, a lot of PlayStation time, a lot of coming over here in a hire car and doing laps with experienced riders, and even just laps on my own. COVID then arrived, so 2020 TT didn't happen, 2021 didn't happen, but I'd had 2 good years in British Championship with Honda. 2022 arrived, and it was now time to make the long-awaited debut. It was quite an incredible roller coaster of 2 weeks. First week was really good. It was practice week, no pressure whatsoever. Go out and enjoy it. And this place is unbelievable to ride. Naturally, you're getting faster and faster. By the end of practice, we had done 128 mile an hour after 5 nights. And in my first superbike race, I done 129.98 mile an hour, which was fastest ever TT Newcomer. They all talk about the 130 club. I was less than a second off joining it in my first ever race. You know, I don't regret anything, but surely I could have found a second somewhere. But you don't know till you cross the line. Like, it's not like short circuit where you're looking at your dash continually to tell you if you're up or down on a lap time. You're focusing more on where you're trying to stay between the hedges as such. The second week at TT got really tough, and it sort of showed. By this stage, we had 2 kids, and we're pregnant with the third one, which was unplanned. Because didn't kind of want to have a baby coming whilst they're making my debut at Isle of Man TT. I always swore I wouldn't road race if Laura was pregnant, but here we are, and there was too much commitment from Honda and everyone, and too many years of effort. So trying to hide, she's about 12 weeks pregnant at the time, trying to hide that, starting to grow. Don't want to let my mum and dad know because their nerves are already, they're at their wits' end. To give you an idea what this place does, my mum arrived on the Wednesday of practice week, like 3 days in, and I walked into my motorhome. I knew she was coming, didn't know she was there, and walked in, she started crying. I was like, hey, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, I can't cope with you doing this place. And she looked like she had aged 20 years, and you're like, oh God. Now that second week then got really tough. So we had a great first week, set that record. Week 2, wind picked up, rain picked up. There was always damp patches, and there was one fatality in practice week, which was tough, but it was one, and you can sort of understand it. In the full race week, there was a further, it was 4 fatalities at the time. So you're kind of, people you know are passing away. You have a race 2 hours later, there's tears, and then it's like, gotta get ready and go again. You're eating breakfast for your family in the morning, and you know, I would head up to the paddock on my own and sitting at the breakfast table with the kids, and it's like anxieties, isn't it? Your bike racers are still human beings. All the thoughts are going through your head. You're like, fuck, am I having dinner with him tonight? You know, you just don't know. And I remember saying to John McGuiness, because he was actually my teammate, so my first start was his 100th start. I was like, John, I just walked up here, and you're like, why do we do it? You know why you're doing it, because you want to, but the other pull of your emotion is like trying to question it. He's like, mate, you need to get used to it. I've been like this for 20 years, and you're like, oh, I don't think I can do this. So yeah, that was it in a nutshell. Senior TT came. It was a really slow race. The winds in the mountain were like over 50 mile an hour conditions. Where, in fact, I think if it was a short circuit race, they wouldn't have started the race. Here it's even more dangerous. But we went ahead. Great experience. You know, I for sure seen the highs and lows, and it was enough to put me in and straight out of the TT very quickly. I did join Ducati at the end of 2022 again, and they didn't want to do it, which did help me make my decision. I suppose, why did I stop road racing? Really, obviously kids were a big factor. In my career, I've been quite unlucky with a few incidents that have been outside of my control. So most people could go through their whole racing career without any weird thing going wrong with a bike. And when things do go wrong with a bike and it's happened to you, you're quite aware that it can happen. And if it happens when we do something like this or the Northwest, the consequences would be very different. 2017, my left handlebar snapped, like a metal failure. I've never really heard of it much. I've heard of it a few times, to be fair, but not a lot. I broke my C4, my neck, broken disced my shoulder, my elbow. 4 years later, I finally got the surgery to fix the shoulder, and it was the beginning of the 2022 season. So it was in the beginning of March, 3 months before I made my debut at TT. We're riding a road bike in Spain just to put the sort of muscle memory back through the shoulder. It had lost a lot of strength in the surgery, and the front brake failed about 150 mile an hour. I broke 7 vertebrae in my back, basically most of my T-spine, bar a couple of them. Pubic bone, hip socket, sacrum, hand, split my Shoei helmet open at the time. And it was another, I got away with it. It wasn't great, but I did get away with it. And if something like that happened here, you know, and it's game over. So there was that awareness of things happening in bikes as such, and that's kind of, I think the combination between being aware of what can happen and being a dad was enough to go, I should probably get out of this. At the same time, you have a pretty superbike career. That's the lion's share of your income. So for me, it was easy to walk away from this, if you stay here and this becomes successful and you start to win at it, you know, every year, this becomes the majority of your income. And I always say, how do you walk away from it? You know, once this becomes your business as well, you can't just go, I'm not going to do it, because you need to get a job. So we're quite lucky with having a career in track racing that made things a little bit easier for me to transition out of. I'm going to talk through a lap now, and then after that, feel free to ask any questions. I'll stand here or stand there so I don't block the view. And this will give you a bit of a real time as to how quick and what we're looking for. So we'll get straight into it. Volume. So just took off Glen Road. We're looking to get underneath these trees on the right hand side. We're coming up to your first jump on the track, which is St Ninian's Crossroads. The bike's going to take off. Weirdly, this feels like a motorway, and I don't know why. Underneath this big tree on the left, and at the bottom of the hill, we need to be a 1.5 feet out from the curve on the right side. Perfect. If you're any closer, you've got them out. First jump, Agos leap. Second jump, and we're looking for a White House left hand side. We're going to roll off now. Bang, White House. Back on the gas a little bit. Now this is really bad in lap 1. Tires have cooled a bit, and you also have a full tank of fuel, and it's really steep downhill. You can't get stopped, so just get through it. Don't do nothing silly. Flat out coming up the Braddock Bridge. We're going to brake before the white line splits into like a different type of line. It's also the first time you're going to hit the left hand side of the road of the tyre, so just take it a little bit steady, floating in lap 1. Camber changes from left to right, really drops in. Again, you can lose the front. Now things are about to get a little bit quicker as we're heading towards Union Mills. So we're full gas here. A little bit of a left kink here. It's small, but that's flat out. Snugger. Now you want to take it flat out. Your brain said don't do it. You're like, flat out. Unbelievable. Now you're awake and the bike's starting to feel normal. Into Union Mills, left, steady enough, back another gear. Flick right, big bump here. Going to flick left and you actually jump over this now. You see Dean Harrison both wheels in the air. Flat out up Ballahutson straight. Now we need to be on the left hand side of the road, because before we get to Ballagary there's a right hand kink. Doesn't have a name, but if you're on the right hand side of the road here you would ride off the road. So when we come to Ballagary, we're looking for the 30-mile-an-hour signs. We're going to roll off around them. We're looking for a telegraph pole on the inside. We're going to accelerate for you. There's the 30-mile-an-hour signs, roll off, and telegraph pole on the inside. Drive. Through. Spin. Coming down to Crosby, you're flat out, back up to 6th gear. Right hand side of the road. Now John's going to roll a little bit in this lap. The front guys are now taking this absolutely flat out, which is mental. So they are flat out through there, and I can tell you that's brave. Right, coming up the Crosby jump, you've got to be in the middle of the right hand lane. If you jump it on the left side, you will visit Neil Armstrong. Don't want to do that. So we're going to send it, 185-mile-an-hour jump on the superbike. Now back, you're absolutely flat out. Bikes are nearly doing 200 miles an hour here, and you're looking for the White House at Greva Castle. There it is, roll off. That's it in the distance on the right hand side. Back a gear, back another one. Flick left, there's a massive compression here. Watch them bottom out. Flick right, camber drops away. Superbike wants to light up. Gotta get close into the wall. Now it's really fun. Into the wall on the left, into the curve on the right, back into the wall on the left. When you flick from left to right, the track drops downhill. Watch you don't lose the front. Accelerate, go. Coming up the Greva Bridge, 90-degree left-hand corner, quite simple, but the curves, the wall's rough and it can grab your shoulder. Flat out now, we're going to come through Harrods, and then we're going to go to Gorsley. We're going to try to scare the spectators, open the corner up as much as possible. So run along by some series, we're up, roll off and drive through Gorsley. Awesome corner, one of the biggest corners in the track. Another jump. So that's our 4th jump within a couple of miles. And heavy on the brakes into Ballacrane. Now you can short circuit it here, but it goes wrong. Slip road, turn around to Crossroads, come back. Into the Glen Helen sets and loads of trees, lots of dump, kind of retains. So 3 ballast spur, quite a simple left-hand corner. We're going to drop down the hill into Ballig Bridge and Doran's Bend. Now Doran's Bend, you cannot go in too quick because the corner keeps turning, so we're not going to cross the middle of the road. If you're over that white line now, you're in big trouble. So middle of the road. Now Laurel Bank is a really late apex right-hander, so we need to be into that curve, but not until really late. Now we're in. Flick left, quite simple. This is the only early apex corner in the track, so go in before the white line splits. So in now, perfect. We drive through, we come to the Black Dog. Now there's a little awkward bump. We've got to get into the left, flick right, get the bike upright as much as possible. Bang, over the jump. Late apex left right, so John misses it in this lap. You want to be in there to the left and drive through here. Superbike is spinning and pumping, it's unbelievable feeling. Into Glen Helen 1, it's now called Rudders after Michael Rudders, so it's a little bit like Daytona, quite cambered. Left, a little bit of a simple right, and you're at Glen Helen, which is the first sector on the track. So they're here in about 3 minutes, 5 seconds. Up into Sarah's Cottage. Again, you got to get in close underneath this hedge and light it up. Now this is important to get this right. Big long straight, under that hedge on the left, ignore the hedge on the right, underneath the next hedge on the right, underneath this hedge on the left, and go, 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 go. You're coming on the corner body. Any corner onto a long straight is so important to get the exit. Superbike's going to jump again here just as we come over this brow. Lovely jump there, and we're looking for the word slow is on the road, and we need to go through the O or else you're in trouble. It's so fast, flat out, where is it? Roll through, and through the O, go, bang. Drops downhill, now absolutely flat out. The first right here is pinned, the second one you got to roll off for because we have a left coming up, so roll off. Into the 11th milestone, open up the left hand corner and in. Go, 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 go. Track gets a little bit bumpy now, they're coming up the Handley chicane, it's a left, right, massive wall on the right, big heads on the left, so you can't hang off the bike like Marquez, you've got to dip the bike in left, dip it in right, because if you hang off it, not so good. Flat out through here, coming up to John McGuinness's corner, you're looking for the white line, the right, into white line, go through, bike compresses, spins again. You're going to jump for another time over this little crest. We're looking for the white line on the right hand side, we're going to run alongside it for a bit, run alongside, there it is, and leave it. Into the top of Bagaro, drive, drive, drive. Bottom of Bagaro is where you see everyone compressing the belly bands. So roll off a little bit, try to go through it on throttle if you can. It just takes a bit of load off the bike. Now heading up to the 13th, unlucky for some. A lot of people have been hurt here, and it's a really, really late apex corner, so you can't go in early or you will run out of road. So we're in now. Accelerate till you see the whites of the marshal's eyes in here, and then roll off. Get it in, now drive, drive, drive. It's going to spin here, it's negative camber. We're coming down to Kirkmichael. We're looking for a little fish on the left hand side, so we're flat out, flat out, flat out. There's the fish on the left now. Bang. We're looking for a white grating on the inside, it's pinned it. There it is, that's your apex. Go, 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 go. Now the only way out of Kirkmichael is the double yellow lines on the left, the double yellow lines on the right, and the double yellow lines on the left. So that's all I'm thinking about now. And here they are, we're coming up. Double yellow lines on the left, double yellow lines on the right, double yellow lines on the left, and that's you out of the village. You have to do it that way. Coming up the Raincullen jump, you've got to get the bike upright, it's going to take off. Into a nice right left, coming to the second jump of Raincullen, you've got to hit this one in the middle of the road, so perfect jump. Now we're coming to Bishop's Court, which is a 6th gear right hand corner, and the bike is so hard to steer because you're accelerating. So we need to get into the white line, the left hand side, as we go past the big mansion, and through Bishop's Court. What a corner. Now this is very important to thread the needle. We've got to be in here on the left, we've got to ignore the first white line, we've got to hit that one, we've got to hit this one, we've got to go back again over this crest, back to the curb, and in through Alpine. It's so, so, so fast. Superbike doesn't want to steer. Coming to Belough Bridge where you can actually breathe as you go back to first gear, so flat out through the kink, down the box, take a breath, and that's your second sector. And you do need to take a breath because you've been holding it for a while. Flat out of Belough, quite simple, just watch for a bit of a high side there, a bit of left right. We're coming up the Ballycry, now my favourite jump on the track. It's a little bit lower jump, but you hit it so hard. We're looking for the white line inside, we're not going to come in until we see it. There it is, and we're in, and go, 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 go. And you send this, what a jump. That jump's incredible, you'll see it today in the slow-mo on the TV. Coming down to the Wildlife Park and into Quarry Bends. Really nice right, left section. So here we go, you can now cross over the middle of the road. Level's just got a bit stronger now. In white curb or white grating on the inside. Underneath this hedge on the right, go, go, build momentum, build momentum. This is the fastest straight in the track, so all this is so important. You've got one more left kink to navigate. Got to get through it, it's very bumpy, you can't see a thing, especially on a sunny day, the shadows, you're like, where am I going? You're looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. It's all you can see. Where's the light? Where's the light? It's terrible until you're out of it. And then you're like, I can see again, happy days, right through the right kink, and bang, hard on the brakes, 200 mile an hour, back till 30 mile an hour. We're turning right at Sulby Bridge, coming into Ginger Hall. So we're back up to about 110, 115 mile an hour here, and roll through to about 90 mile an hour for Ginger Hall corner. Really bad bump here, pick it up. The road's dirty, it's going to spin, it's going to try to spin all the time. Bike goes light, really, really bumpy, it's horrible here, like boom, 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 boom. Can't be hard on the brakes there because of the bumps, just roll through a simple right kink. Now this is the bumpiest section of the track, it's horrible. We're going to flick left here, And we'll go full gas, and you're threading the needle. The 21st mile board is on your left, and the curb jumps out, so it's going to jump out at us there now. There's the curb. You can't see a thing. You're going to jump one more time here. You're heading to Glen Irwin, and this is so hard to stay flat out, and when you roll, the bike goes into a massive wobble, so you're in a counter battle with your head nearly every single lap. Into Glen Irwin, which is quite a simple left-hand corner. They've now removed all the trees on the right-hand side, which makes it a lot safer. Now we're coming to the K tree. The K tree is a tree with the letter K on it to remind you that the curb sits out from the tree. So we've got to get into the right-hand side. Look for the K in the tree. There it is. There's the curb. And flat out. Now this next right-hander is absolutely horrible. Hard on the brakes. You feel the fork. You properly bang the fork. It's terrible. Then the road surface changes to really good. Left. A bit like slalom skiing. Right. Left, coming into Milntown, another lovely jump on the track. And Milntown, you accelerate through the corner. You can't see the exit, but go, 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 go. Unbelievable. You're hard on the gas. You can't see a thing, and then it opens up. Coming down into Ramsey, in the schoolhouse corner. A little bit of a bump in the apex of this, and you can use the bus lane on the right-hand side now. And again, the top guys will be. Again, get your breath back. Back it in for the crowd. And slow down Parliament Square. Back to first gear. Relax. Accelerate out of Ramsey, come up the May Hill, which is a little bit of an awkward uphill right-hand corner where it's quite bumpy. The bike just skips across the track. It doesn't really turn. Just let it breathe like a horse, let the reins go sort of light. Lovely little 90-degree left coming up, open it up like a short circuit, accelerate, use the white line on the outside. Come back to the left, open up Stella Maris. It's very cambered, a bit like Daytona. Break into Ramsey Hairpin. Now just watch, it's always wet here. The water seeps through. And this is your next sector time. So now we're climbing the mountain. We've got three sectors. Coming up the waterworks, the first right-hander is slow, the second one's slower. So here's the first one, slow. You've got to get that order correct or again you'll get it wrong, and slower. Coming up to Tower Bends, which is Bruce Ansey's favourite chicane on the track. It's horrible on the scooter bike. You turn in, it's bouncing, 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 doesn't want to hold a line, bouncing, 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 terrible. Coming into the gooseneck, we're looking for the big strip of white paint on the wall. You're going to try to rub the shoulder off it. There we go, and under the white paint. Flick left, quite simple, short circuitly. Back on the brakes on the gooseneck. You need to get a good run out of this because you're climbing quite a steep hill. So there is a little left peak here with no name. Again, you've got to know it's there and be on the right side of the road. It's flat out through it. And we have a lovely little left before Joey, just roll off and drive through. Coming into Joey Dunlop's corner, it's a little bit awkward, a little bit bumpy and vague, bike floats a bit. And you've got to drive, 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 drive. Now we're properly on the mountain. Next left-hand corner, you've got to come into the apex and the inside, you've got to go to the white line, apex and the inside, white line, apex and let it go. Or else you'll run out of the road. White line, apex, white line, and let it go. Back to the left-hand side, use all the extra stuff, flick in right. Now watch the camber here, it's negative, you can spin the super bike up. Little lovely left, roll off and go, 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 go. Now the next corner is so important, you're coming on the mountain mile, you've got to get a good run through this. Roll and go, 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 go. Now mountain mile is a mile long, it's flat out. It's certainly not a straight, it is pinned. The only problem with mountain mile when you're in slipstream of another bike, it becomes so narrow. Off to the right's a bit of a drop down the mountain. I'm not a big fan of heights, so it was always hard to sort of navigate past another bike here. All we're looking for now is a little white bridge. We're going to click back to fifth gear and go through the next right-hander, absolutely flat in fifth. So bang, back to fifth and pin. This is flat in fifth gear, lovely corner. Ignore the first apex on the left, come in for the second one, ignore the third one, and come back in for the fourth one. It's the only way through that. Next we have a really, really big right-hand kink coming up. You've got to be right on the left-hand side of the road. This is a class corner so fast. Roll off and drive through it. Drive, drive, drive. Now I'm sure you've all seen Connor Cummins go off the side of the mountain. So we're coming up to the veranda. Veranda has 4 placards on the inside, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 1 you don't go in for, 2 you're thinking about coming in, 3 you're nearly in, and 4 you're in. And that's the only way through the veranda. If you get that the other way, again you're going to join Connor. So flat out again, this is lovely, really wide. If there was a racetrack in heaven, this would be it. Quite a simple left-hand corner, really smooth. Just watch the gratings on the inside, they're a bit lower than the tarmac. Now we're coming to the bungalow, so again we're thinking about getting back to the right-hand side as much as we can to open up the bungalow. Now really cool here, you get across a railway line, which is a bit strange on a motorbike. But you do this and you look at the spectators on the left, make eye contact with them, do whatever you want, just say hello to them. Flat out. Now again there's another right hand kink, and like a lot of corners from
now to the end of the mountain, it's a right kink followed by a big left. So this is Brandywell, the highest part of the track. So you've got to slow up for the right and open the left. I drive through. In the senior TT, this is where I actually nearly blew from the inside of the track through this right into this hedge on the left. The wind took me and it done it 2 laps in a row. Nearly blew me there. Wouldn't have been good. Lovely left-hand corner here. It's got 3 apexes to it. And you float it out. Unbelievable. Coming into windy corner, the valley opens up. Hence why it's windy. We've got to read the windsock just to be able to get it right. The wind will really catch you here on a windy day. Accelerate out, cross that white line if you want, touch the gravel, spin up. Have a lot of fun. We're coming to the 33rd. Now, like Brandywell, we have a right kink followed by a big left. The 33rd, the white lines in the middle of the road are actually elevated. And the bike weirdly floats. It's a weird sensation. So we're going to float now. We're going to float again. And then you accelerate down the Kettle Gate. And like the previous corners on the mountain, we have another right kink followed by a big left. Kettle Gate's really cool. It's actually very cambered on the left-hand side, as you can see. Now we're accelerating down to Kate's Cottage, so just run along the right-hand side of the road, have a little roll-off, and drive through Kate's Cottage. Now this is one of the best parts of the track on the last lap of the entire TT Festival. Because all these people will be applauding you in, tipping their hat. It's a really surreal feeling as you break hard into Craignabar. Again, the round of applause doesn't stop. You come into Craignabar, simple right-hand corner, and all the people here, again, they're standing up, they're clapping, they're nodding their caps. It's a really special feeling. You're nearly home, you've nearly made it home. Now we're coming down to Brandis, which is a huge left-hand corner. It used to be 2nd gear back in the day, but it's been well opened up. This is 5th gear or 4th, but it's a 5th gear corner. And every time you do it, you think, I could have done it quicker. Accelerate, accelerate, go, 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 go. It's such a good corner, it's so fast. Now we're coming down to Hillbury, and like course lane, we're going to stare the spectators, going to run along the left-hand side of the road to open it up. There they are, stare them, and turn in and go, 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 go. It's steep uphill, you've got to be on the throttle early there, or else you're punished. Front and on is 4 left-handers that go on forever, so don't cross the middle of the road till the end. So in, middle of the road, in, middle of the road, in, and let it go. In the signpost, 90-degree right-hand corner, again, if you get it wrong, turn at the slip road. The bike backs in a little bit there and just downhill. Bedstead, your apex is underneath the footbridge. There's the footbridge, get in, perfect. And the next bit's a little bit awkward. It's the only part of the road that isn't used all year round. So we're going to turn into the right. It's very green, it's covered with trees. You just have to respect this. It's so simple, not that difficult, but the surface is just really like there's moss coming up through the tarmac. Back to about 2.5 miles an hour, that's slow, you can fall over. Really simple here, but a lot of top riders have ruined the race with a silly little high side coming out of here. And that's how you finish a lap of the TT. This week I'm actually staying in the house on the left hand side, joining in there, it's perfect. I'm flat out across the start line, and that's a lap there on TT.
Time of what's actually going on, how fast your brain is processing at a rate of knots, that when you've done this place you realise kind of how powerful we actually are and what your mind can do when you put it to something. Learning that wasn't really that difficult. You know, a lot of people ask that because A, you want to be competitive, you're a bike racer, and B, you want to come home. And when you have them two things hanging over you, you're going to put the effort in. We've all been to school, we've all done GCSEs or whatever they're called in America and Australia, but your qualification before you go on and get a career. And if you really want to do well in that subject and you have an interest, you'll pass it, and if you don't, you won't. For this, it's probably the only thing I've ever passed in my life, but it's the only thing I had an interest in really learning. And that lap in particular, we used to drive the car and deliberately turn the lap over and just be listening to it in your hands free, and then tune into the engine noise, and you could always work out where it was. And that's the sort of level of obsession and discipline that we had to learn this place. Any questions?
Did your mom ever see this video?
Do you know what? Probably not. No, she could maybe watch it now, but no, I definitely didn't show her before we came here. Here, mum, let me show you something. No, I didn't try that.
Glenn, you've done that in 15. What's the speed now? 10 years
So I think that was a 1:32 standing start, which was a really, really, really quick lap 10 years ago. It's still a very fast lap. You know, fastest lap this week is Dean Harrison, 1:35.6, which was actually the 3rd fastest lap there has ever been here. The fastest ever lap on Metzler tyres.
It won't look too dissimilar to that. They're using a little bit more road as we come into Quarry Bends. Talked about the run over the road a bit more. They're using the bus lane coming into Parliament Square, the schoolhouse. You know, they're taking Crosby Corner flat out, which was the big left in 6th gear quite early in the lap before the jump. It's little bits here and there. Bikes are developing. The course is developed. You know, in recent years, Sulby Straight got resurfaced, and it will every now and again because it's in a valley. So in 2022, the track was quite slow because it had sunk in, and you were bouncing down Sulby. You couldn't get much quicker than 185 mile an hour because the bikes were going so unstable. This week they've hit like 199, 198. So it's always you can never compare to 10 years ago. You know, the tracks will change year in, year out, but you know, John McGuiness is still flying around here. He's 53. He's done his best lap at Northwest 3 weeks ago and what he's ever done. His best lap time at Oulton Park, which is a British Superbike track where he was doing it for a bit of pre-season sort of sharpness. And he's done some of his best sectors, I think. Alan actually sponsors John McGuiness, sponsors Nathan Harrison, sponsors me, my brother, who else? Dean Harrison as well. So yeah, this man's a bit of an enthusiast here. He's here as one of my guests today. The road racing community is incredible because there's a little bit more respect amongst the riders, and you know, you see rivalry in short circuits and it gets a bit toxic at times. There's not really any need for it, but here it's just different in it because you'll know what you're about to go out and do. And you know, I went to the grid the other day for the sidecar race, and you know, don't ask me how the passengers ever put their hand up to be a passenger, but all the drivers looked really focused and calm, and you know a lot of them, so you go and you just get a wee nod from them and a wee thumbs up, and you look at the passengers and they look like they're walking to their bloody grave. It's terrible. The start line is a special place here, and you could cut the atmosphere or whatever, the energy, you know, with a knife. It's mental. You kind of chat to the riders because you go off in 10-second intervals, so they're all lined up, you know, in distance, so the guys in 50th won't even be near the guys in front. So you'll just chat depending on your number around the people that are near you, and it's conversations of little words, feeling the tension in each other. You're getting photos, you're like, oh, is this the last photo? The graveyard's beside you, which doesn't help matters. So you try to look forward or left. But when you get to the last little bit, when the grid's cleared and all the pundits are gone, and your family's gone, and it's just you and your mechanic left, it becomes a little bit more special because at that stage, helmet's on, visor's the last thing to be pulled down, and you're just looking down Glen Crutchley Road and Bray Hill, and it's full focus. All the silly thoughts that you've had, they're gone. You're just a bike racer in this moment, and that's at that point in time, it's the most special feeling, and you couldn't replace that in life. But yeah, any more questions?
Now that you're a parent, how would you feel if any of your kids?
No, my son's 8, so he races, but he races on like little pit bikes, so they ride on the go-kart tracks, and if he wants to stick at it and do what I'm doing, great, but like he's not allowed to road race. But then I wasn't allowed to road race either, and you grow up. Look, if he came here, would I support him? Absolutely. Would I ever encourage him to do it? No way. Like, you know, I spoke to Nathan Harrison after he done his first 131 mile an hour lap the other day, and Nathan's about 26, 27 years of age, had a few big crashes before, and I was chatting to him and he says, yeah, my dad just says, fucking go for it, son. And I was thinking, that's not the advice I would be giving my son. I would remember this place is dangerous. You got to respect this place. You can be fast, and I don't think the F and go for it's the right advice personally for your son, but it did work. He was fast and he came in. Sorry mate, how's it going? How you doing? Any more?
How fast are they going out front here?
Yeah, good question. So Gordon from, where is Gordon? Is he? Gordon, how's it going? Gordon asked that earlier, so I rang Spider, who is one of Dean Harrison's technicians. He was my technician at Honda. So when they're approaching, you miles per hour or kilometers per hour? Miles. So approaching, he said 180k. Which is about 115, I think, isn't it? It's about 115, hit the brakes and roll through it at 80 mile an hour, which is, it's quick enough, like, really. You wouldn't fancy hitting a wall at 80 mile an hour. Like, you wouldn't jump out of a car on the motorway, would you? You know, so it's fast enough. And like, that's a very short straight. You know, they're coming out of Sulby Bridge. The bike wants to wheelie straight away. You'll see that today. You're only first up the second gear, maybe third, depending on gearbox. So
they're wheeling around the corner.
they'll wheelie as they come out of Sulby. It's a more than a 90-degree right. It's quite awkward. So you're braking from 200 mile an hour and you're turning, but it really hooks back. So we'll see that today. You'll see on the approach they'll be fighting wheelie, and then they'll open this up as much as they can. Things to look out for today. There's a really bad bump in Ginger Hill right on the apex. So the top riders will open it up and be back on the gas through the bump. It just takes a little bit of weight off the front of the bike. If you're in too quick and you're committed and you're running wide, you can't be back on the gas and you'll hit the bump off throttle, and that's kind of when not so good. But the bump's quite apparent here. Sidecars are really cool to watch here. The passenger gets a bit of a pop out of the suit. But like I say, them guys are nuts. The top sidecar passengers don't even look where they're going. They're all sound and muscle memory, really. You know, they'll look in certain areas, but the crew boys will tell you that is it Ryan or Callum, whichever one's passenger, he doesn't even look, just knows where they are. But again, I could understand that because I know how you can do it with that. You know, if you close your eyes or whatever, you can work out where John is in this lap at all points. So again, if you have to learn something, you learn it, really, don't you?
So you don't want it 215. Did you win the senior in 215?
Yeah, he did, yeah. And the gap was a really good lap then. I think he had quite a large lead after that lap, yeah. I think that was John, one of his last TT wins.
It was, yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Just count to zero.
Hey?
The zero.
Yeah, the zero, yeah, the TT zero race, yeah, it's gone. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Because electric
Yeah, he won
bikes,
the last
they say
one.
electric's coming in, you know, more and more future, yet they've been here and now they're gone from here. Don't know, they weren't that exciting. It was like, shh. really. So I remember standing in Bray Hill before and the electric race started and you wouldn't even know the race had started, and then you got shh. You like a bit of noise, don't you? It's like when Formula 1 went really quiet, it wasn't very good. Any more cues? You bunch are quite easy. Other day they were like seagulls over each other.
What's the significance of the bike?
So this is a young lad, Liam Wood, who lives like a quarter of a mile that way. Bails Mark out quite a lot, likes of yesterday or 2 days ago. 2 power cuts in there, so all the food that the guests would be getting wouldn't be happening. He's a spark as well, aspiring TT rider. So yeah, Mark and Liam kind of work a bit together, and I think there's a donation bucket, if I'm right, is
Yeah,
it?
so anyone who wants to
Anyone
make a
wants to
donation,
chuck a few quid, do it. I sponsored him last year. He had destroyed his bike in a crash and just give him a few quid to get it going again. He's just a young lad. It's an expensive dream. You know, if you're a privateer and you want to do the TT, you're living on the island, that helps a bit because you've no travel costs, but engines, it's very short, engines, tyres, and everything else. So he's just a young lad, and yeah, we all had to start somewhere, I guess.
there's a banner just outside on the marquee here if anyone wants to read a little bit of information about Liam. We sponsor him and pay for his race entry fees as well, but he's quite well.
He's a good lad.
He's a lovely
Really nice
lad,
kid.
yeah. He's a lovely guy.
What are the race entries fees? Somebody asked us that the other day.
For the Axel TT, I don't think so. Liam races short circuits here. There's a track like less than a mile away from here, Derby. It's actually halfway along Sulby Straight. But for the Axel TT, I don't think there's an entry fee.
It's 155 quid up there. Then.
Is it? There you go. You've been counting.
All right. I know how much you pay.
Yeah.
How
Any?
many bikes then how many bikes will run?
They're trying to cut back on it a bit now because there's been a lot of last laps, particularly in the senior TT when it runs 6 laps. You'll get lap traffic, and if you're getting a pit board it, you're a second off winning it, or you are winning it, and you've only a second gap. You come to traffic, you feel obliged to commit to win the race, but then you're at road racing and you can't put someone off the track. So it becomes there's been some big moments before, some serious accidents. There's probably still, I think the numbers go down till, they're definitely going to the 50s. I don't think it's over 60 anymore. It was before. But again, the gap from the front to the back, then the longer it is, you know, if there's 70, he's run off 100 seconds later than 60th. So Dunlop and Hickman are already 100 seconds closer to him, and then factor in this speed difference over 6 laps. They were getting lapped early on in lap 6, so be interesting. The senior is meant to be tomorrow with the weather, I'm not so sure, but be interesting to see if there is lapped riders. It's not something you want in road racing. We've had it at Northwest in recent years, and you see them coming, you're going like, fuck, the approach speed is so different, and you're trying to you've got to arrive to them first. You've got to be the first bike to get to them, and I've been lucky where I wouldn't say it's worked for me or worked against me, but it's me and Davey Todd had some great battles in recent years there, and you're under so much pressure to get through, and you have to hesitate. I hesitated in 2017. That race I won, and I thought it was the right thing to do. I still think it was, and the guy behind me passed me and the back marker, had a big move, and we ended up still winning the race. But that's the problem with back markers in road racing. Isn't I don't feel there should be back markers. So you either set the criteria that the qualifying speed is within a certain percentage of the leader's speed and work it out that you can't get lapped. But then you'll get from the other side, it's about the privateers too. They make the event. For sure they do, but safety and common sense should probably always rise to the top. Because these events here, like with insurance nowadays, we're losing so much fun things to do in the world. It's becoming harder and harder, and if you give them any ammunition, they'll be the first to jump on you. So got to protect it a little bit and be a bit ruthless with decisions.
James said exactly the same thing yesterday.
Yeah, shouldn't be back markers.
Do those back markers get a blue flag? Or do you do those at all?
But the problem so if you're giving a privateer back marker a blue flag, in short circuits, if you got a blue flag, no, that's it. It doesn't mean that. A blue flag means you're going to be lapped. Don't do anything, because if you say they're in the middle of the road and they think move, and they move in the direction the rider behind's committed to move, that's a crash. But most people will see a blue flag and panic, and the rider could be right on them and they could move, but the rider that's making the pass has already moved. So it's not the place to chuck in another thought to somebody at the back of the grid and then they panic in that situation and get it wrong. I just think you need to make sure there's no back markers, but they're working on it. Just trying not to piss people off, I guess, but yeah.
The way with back miles, then I'll never get the rocks.
Alan, you'll never be racing here, mate. Alan races as well. Just recovering from a big crash at Dunnington Park, aren't you, mate?
Yeah. Hickey, did he hit the bump last year? That was knocked him off.
Hickey uses a little bit different line at Ginger Hill. Tries to run round the bump, but then he has more lean angle for longer and more of a short circuit line. And I think literally just ran out a sort of road and in a little bit fast. Obviously, Peter Hickman's ruled out of racing this year. He had quite a big crash the other day. That's 10 seconds after here. Took a fault with the bike. I think something, the rear subframe broke and sat itself on its ass, hit the rear tyre and popped the tyre. And where he crashed was quite strange. So you have the really bumpy left-hand corner we spoke about just there. You can't really be on the brake, and then you flick right. And it's no big lean angle or nothing, but when the tyre popped, boom, and into the hedge and that. He was very, very, very lucky boy. He's broke a few vertebrae, his scapula, his collarbone, and his face looks like he's been in the ring with Mike Tyson. So he's all right. He done a signing with us yesterday, floating about in a little wheelchair, which is weird to see, and he does look like he's been rattled a bit, but he'll be back again, and that's the thing. The crashing doesn't put you off it, especially for them boys when they've won so many races and all they want to do again is win. Unbelievable. Been some great comeback stories here, like Ian Hutchison wanted to amputate his leg, and he just fought with him, and he came back and won, and then he crashed again, and he went through a lot of tough years, many tough years there, and then went to the Northwest 200. He must be mid-40s now, and he stood on the Superstock podium, the first podium he's had in years. So you can see what it meant to him as well. His interview was actually his daughter would only be, I don't know, 4 years of age or something like that. And so she hasn't really seen her dad be a fast bike rider, because his good times were before that. And he was crying as he was saying it. Now his daughter knows that daddy can actually ride a bike, which is the truth, because he's been incredible. But the adversity he's came through is it's unbelievable. Even Ben Birchall in the sidecars, he has always raced along with his brother. Tom decided to retire. They won over 10 sidecar races. Ben kept at it. Went mountain biking the very end of last year. Got absolutely wrecked. Nearly lost his life. Multiple back fractures, and again, all efforts to be fit for the TT this year. And he stayed second in the race the other day. So
It's like a bit of an addiction when you're lying. I always talk about when you're lying trackside, people ask, about injuries, and you're lying there and when you don't get up, you're definitely broke. You broke something. You're like, fuck, why did I do this? It's always the same. Why do I do it? Because you're in so much pain, and then they get to you, like they, as in the paramedics, it's like aliens. They come to you and they give you gas and air, and they put a little cannula in you and get the pain relief in, and it goes from why do you do it to how quick can I get back? And you're nearly asking the paramedic to diagnose you there and then. They haven't even scooped you up off the gravel, and you're thinking, is it shoulder? Right, I need to ring Professor Funk. He's the best shoulder surgeon. It's wrist. I need to ring Mike Hayton. He's the best wrist specialist. And all the racers we know all the specialists, and they look after you a lot. They get you in ahead of time, and you diagnose a bit. Quite a funny story. I've shared this week. Was when we were in school and you pick your subjects to do like for your exams, before you go on and be like a spark or a plumber or whatever you're going to be. We had like a lady come into the school for a day or two, and it was 5 minutes every pupil in my year had with her, where you say what you want to be, and she says you need to be these qualifications and go to that college. So it was my turn, and what do you want to be? Want to be a motorbike rider? And, no, like but what do you want to do for a job? It's like, no, I want to be a motorbike rider. I was probably being a little bit smug because I did mess about in school. But anyway, the next day came and I was called out of my English class. I had to go down to see the headmaster. So, didn't know why I had to go down. It's never good. Had a bit of experience in there before, and it was like, Glenn, we had a guest of the school in yesterday. You've let the school down. You haven't taken her serious. You wouldn't answer a question properly, and I was like, Tanner wanted to be a bike racer, and they gave me an after-school detention for not taking her serious. Now the best thing is the school have had me back 3 times talking to pupils who want to have a career in sports. So it's worked. It's went full circle as such. So yeah, I still remember the conversation with that lady, and she really didn't believe me. She didn't think it was a job.
You guys got to be pretty fit. You guys exercise regimen.
Yeah, it's we're I don't like to blow our own trumpets, but like we would be as fit as any athlete in the world, I guess. A lot of cardio, cycling, running or swimming, a lot of core stuff, a lot of weight training as well. That not to be big, but to be like I don't carry no body fat. You're like wiry. You kind of look like a boxer type cut, I would say. But yeah, like you do VO2 tests, you'll be mid to high 70s. You do fitness tests and everything's really, really good. So like a bike is like on a short circuit, 170 kilos is the minimum weight for the bike. 30 odd minute race. UK tracks have lots of undulations. We've no anti-wheelie or traction control, not allowed it in our regulations. So it's a physical workout, and yeah, it keeps you. The career is good because it also educates you on kind of healthier way of life as such, because we got to be on top of ourselves. And don't get me wrong, we don't always get it right. There's still a kebab in there, and there's still 20 pints now and again, but it's you got to live a little as well.
And then hand strength.
Try not to do too much, because we all get the arm pumps. You little scar there and here. Mine aren't too bad. So that's the bigger your forearm is, the more pump you'll get, and obviously the arm pump starts to restrict circulation, and the hand goes a little bit numb. It's I didn't realize how sort of that I even had it. I wouldn't say how bad. Till my younger brother and one of our mates were going to Mike Hayton to get cut open, and they were both getting both arms done. And I was like, I think I get a little bit of that. I didn't think it was that bad. So I went and got the surgery, and it was really cool because I got one arm done. I was allowed to stay awake. And I wouldn't think I would be into looking at stuff like that, but he done that one, and then on this one he goes, do you want to watch? I was like, fuck, do you know what? I'll probably not get this chance again. I'll watch. So it was like a hair clip that opens out, and your arm's held open to be easily that gap. Unbelievable. You're cut up. And he's like, look, move your fingers. Oh, that's your ligaments, that's your nerves, and you're like, you're looking into your arm. They kind of cut out like if you imagine like a chicken fillet, there's like that thin white skin around it. So it's really the fascia and stuff. They cut it to allow your muscle more room to expand without starting to cause cramps. So I do a lot of stuff in the pull-up bar, but you don't try to do like, I've seen people doing all these weight things and winding a weight up on a string.
But the bigger you make that, you have problems. And then after that surgery, so again, I only really went for the crack because we have private insurance as well. Fuck, I can't do any harm. When I rode the bike after, oh my word, only then did I realise that I definitely did have arm pump before. Because suddenly for 30 minutes you could ride full gas. It starts to come back. I nearly went to get it done this off season, but it's came not so bad. Yeah, most people's arms are butchered. Like Cal Crutchlow, I don't know if you know, MotoGP rider. So Cal's married to my cousin, so we would all be quite friendly. Cal's arms destroyed now. It's actually ending his career. Even his MotoGP test career was coming to an end because you look at his arm and muscle sitting here. It's completely bulged and split. It's like a sausage that the skin's been open on. It's went all shit.
Speaking of riders who are recovering, but those of you who've been following along with me are Veronica, the woman that some of you have met. As you know, she had a terrible accident, but she's actually been reporting recently pretty good spirits, already saying, I want to come back. She had 8 fractured ribs, punctured lung, cracked skull, and a few arm injury and a few other things. So it's absolutely bonkers.
She hit the wall hard as well. So she had to, one of my friends at the corner, she had a false neutral, because your braking markers you shouldn't really make a mistake where suddenly you go into a corner way too quick here. But he said the bike was completely silent, so obviously in that false neutral, ran out of road. The bike hit the bales first, moved the bale up, which happens a lot. So she went underneath and said, mate, she hit the wall flipping hard. I'm like,
there's the bike.
Yeah, the bike.
And then the actual bike itself.
She actually looks a little bit like Peter Hickman. They both look like they've been in with Tyson, so she doesn't normally look like Peter Hickman. Peter Hickman would be the best looking rider, so we don't want to compare to him.
Peter should be so lucky. But that's the bike, absolute disaster.
Yeah, there's a lot of resilience in this paddock.
By the way, on Saturday night when we have our final drink together, I'll be doing a whip round, just to let you know, because I can send money to Veronica for this to help her out.
Cool. Good on you. You have enough money yourself.
Yeah, I get a wish. I can after that do a whip round for me. Okay? My wife says, "Why don't I get a real job?"
Where are we with what's the food schedule and stuff today?
So we're going to go for lunch at 12:30 today. That'll give us, we'll do it at 12:30, so it gives us plenty of time.
12:50-ish, try to get the grandstand. You'll see it's one lap. The guys might still be having a bit of a go. They probably will. You'll get a bit of an idea, and then we have the super stock race. Favourites for that, probably Dean Harrison won the other night with his fastest ever lap, so he's went quicker on the stock bike than he has ever done on the super bike. Davey Todd, see, we're all good friends. He kind of found out different things. He thinks he had a dodgy tyre, so his tyre was spinning more than normal, so his traction control was cutting in more than normal, and he felt the bike was quite restricted, so he feels he got beat because he had a problem. So hopefully today, no problems, them two can go at it. Michael Dunlop had a strange stock race. I think he had an issue. So that's the three, obviously, that are just that step above, including Peter Hickman, who's obviously not here. I expect the winner will come from them three. No favourites as to who it is. There's a good, safe race, and hopefully we get to see plenty of laps today.
Okay. Right, everybody. Glenn, thanks very much for that, as always.
Cheers.